Chapter 1. Love is the strongest force in the entire universe. There's nothing as strong and pure as genuine love. It emits passion that has a way of keeping us alive. Everyone needs love, irrespective of age, social class, skin color, or any other means of classifying humans. Children who grow up without love almost always become problems to the society. But studies show that those who are nurtured under the love and care of their parents will almost certainly grow to become valuable and respectful citizens of the world. Adults need love too. Employees function best when they work in an atmosphere of love. Time and time again, it has been proven that couples who live happily tend to be more productive than those in emotionally abusive relationships. Point is, we all need love. And it's very easy to give love to people around us who deserve to be loved. You know those kind, loving people who seem to appreciate every single thing you do for them. But how about loving a hardened criminal who robbed your house when you were 12 and raped your mom? What would you do if you found that, 15 years later, the criminal was caught? Now that's a tough one. Let's not even go to that extreme. It's hard to love people who we don't understand, especially people who don't appreciate our actions. But Jesus said to love everyone, including our enemies. If you're going to focus on the things people do, then you will only love those who love you. But that's not the command. According to Jesus, his true followers are those who, like him, love even the people who seem unlovable. If we're honest, this isn't something any of us can do naturally. However, you can start small. Love isn't something we fall into. It's something we become. So, start small by showing a little kindness to people you ordinarily wouldn't show love to. The more you do it, the more you get used to it. Love and affection may not solve all our problems, but they provide us the inner strength to keep pushing. Love is so powerful, it can bring life to dead situations. A story shared by Bob Goff illustrates this very well. His next-door neighbor of many years told him on the phone one day that she had been diagnosed with cancer. The depression and pain in her voice was obvious. Bob knew how hard it would be for a widow to fight cancer, so he decided to show her deeper love and affection because that was exactly what her spirit needed at the time. He drove to the store and got them a pair of walkie-talkies, fixed one to her bed and the other one to his own house. They spoke over the device regularly like 9-year-olds. This greatly helped his neighbor Carol in her long fight with cancer. It dissipated the initial fears she had and gave her the inner strength to fight. Love is powerful. For the rest of this summary, we will delve deeper into the potency of this great emotion and how you can practice loving everyone, always. Chapter 2. Don't allow shame to ruin your relationships. Forgive yourself and move on. It's impossible to not make mistakes in our relationships with others. We will all mess up at some points in our relationships, particularly if the people are closest to our heart. Have you found that we tend to hurt and be hurt most by the people we love the most? One reason this happens is that, with people close to our hearts, we tend to be ourselves and vulnerable. But the mistakes are not the point. Those are sadly unavoidable. Instead, we all need to learn to forgive ourselves and the people that hurt us. In some cases, it's easier to forgive those who wrong you than to forgive yourself for hurting the people you love and respect. Shame creeps in. You feel awful about your mistake and subconsciously begin to pull back from those people. By doing this, we're holding on to the past and hurting ourselves more than necessary. No matter the crime you commit, understand that there's room for forgiveness. And really, forgiveness begins with forgiving yourself. You can deal with it if the people you offend aren't willing to forgive you, so long as you don't hold on to the past yourself. But life becomes hard when you don't forgive yourself for the mistakes you make. There are two parts to forgiveness. The one you receive from others, and the one you give yourself. When you do something wrong, apologize for it, knowing that no one is perfect. But don't stop there. Forgive yourself too. You won't be truly free of your past if you don't learn to forgive yourself. Did you know, according to Psychology Today, forgiveness releases hormones that make you happier and healthier? Chapter 3. Drop preconceived opinions and let love flow from your heart. When we meet people for the first time, the tendency is to size them up based on what we see and hear about them. Just think about it. Would you treat a business executive the same way you would treat a homeless man? Not a chance. And why is that? The executive is dressed in a suit and tie, looking all bright and shiny. He probably has a wonderful accent and knows how to communicate properly. But the homeless man? He's dressed shabbily, has no cologne on, and doesn't speak well. If you judge people by your 5 senses, you will never be able to love a certain class of people. Don't judge by sight or any social class at all. This isn't how love works. You have love in your heart and you can show it to practically anyone if you decide to. Bob told the story of his late friend, Adrian, whose job in the airport was to check people's ID cards and verify that they were who they claimed to be. According to Bob, Adrian was a kind and loving man who treated all the passengers with the same intensity of love, irrespective of age, gender, outfit, or even the way they reacted to him. This is how we should learn to treat all the people we will meet in the course of our lives. The value of our lives is measured by our capacity to love others. Wayne Gerard Trotman. Chapter 4. Start from where you are with what you have. You don't need to have all that life has to offer to become the type of person who shows love and concern to everyone. For instance, if you're waiting to become a millionaire before you help the needy, then you're ridding the people around you of the little help they could get from you. Something as little as $5 can go a long way in helping someone live better. You never know. The money example is just one of the many ways we limit ourselves by what we don't have. The truth is, you can start from where you are and grow from there. Bob shared the story of Carl, a guy he met in law school who was paralyzed from the neck down. Carl could only use his eyes, tongue, and mind, while the rest of his body had to be moved around by a machine. This resulted from a terrible accident he had while in high school. It's easy to resign to your fate and hate your past and everyone around you if you're in this condition, but Carl didn't let that happen. Instead, he chose to look at the bright side of life. He was surprisingly kind and loving to everyone he met. And not just that, Carl pursued his law career and became a successful lawyer, winning several cases. And he does all this using just his eyes, tongue, and mind. We're not held back by what we don't have, but by what we don't use. Bob Goff. Many of us are more physically comfortable than Carl, but the world around us doesn't even know we exist. You can decide today to use the resources at your disposal to put a smile on people's face, one person at a time. You too can become a source of courage to people around you. Yes, you can. You have much more power than you imagine. Don't let life's twists and turns make you resentful and rob you of the opportunity to help those around you. Chapter 5. People who are becoming love have a way of finding the best in everyone. Everyone on earth has their fair share of life challenges. It's true that some people go through unimaginable things, but if you pay close attention, you will find that we all have made mistakes, and we all have something we're dealing with. Don't be the person who's constantly reminding others of their past mistakes or how incompetent they are. Instead, train your eyes and mind to see the good in people and commend them for it. The thing about human psychology is that people tend to run from those who never see any good in them, while they embrace or come closer to the folks who don't spend all their time criticizing them. The way of love is to always identify those positive traits in people and commend them for it. When you gain their acceptance on the emotional level, you can then talk about the things you don't like about them. No matter where you are in your life, learn to appreciate the people around you. A first step you can take towards this is to think about something good someone has done and let them know how you're grateful for it. Our walk with Jesus is very much like being led by a guide to climb a mountain. We're inexperienced, while Jesus, the guide, has all the knowledge and experience. So it's natural for us to bump into rocks or skip our steps as we try to follow. But always know in your heart that Jesus understands. He doesn't judge you for the mistakes you make. Instead, He holds your hands and gives you the grace you need to continue journeying with Him. How to deal with unfair criticism? Your initial response to criticism has the power to make or mar the situation. So calm down and think clearly before saying or doing anything. Your goal should be to be as polite as possible. Conclusion. The way of love is the superior way. Humans were created to live and thrive in an atmosphere of love. Our lives and results become a misnomer when love is absent. This is why you will find that people, kids and adults alike, are their best when they're in touch with someone who loves them dearly. Many of us know what it's like to love and be loved, but there are millions out there who don't know this experience, or have lost the taste of it. This is one reason why you need to show love to the people you meet. Show love to everyone, always. Do this without any social or racial bias at all. It's impossible to avoid mistakes in your love walk, but learn to forgive those who wrong you, at least for your own peace of mind. And more importantly, don't hold yourself ransom when you wrong others. Apologize for your wrong, forgive yourself, and forget about it. Try this. So far in this summary, you have learned the power of love and how it is good virtue to show love to everyone, always. But as with all knowledge, this information is useless if you don't put it to work. The good news is, you can start practicing what you've learned today. Pick one of your neighbors and show them love in a special way. Don't stop doing this. Do it consistently enough, and you will naturally start showing love to even strangers.